But yeah, here is where he said, I don't think we should have billionaires.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Presumptive New York City Democratic mayoral nominee, Zohran Mamdani, making some waves, a lot of them, in the business community with some comments on the world's richest people over the weekend. This is what he had to say.
You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Mamdani hoping to lead New York City, which tops the worldwide list of cities with the most billionaires. I'd like to keep them here if possible. New York has 123 billionaires, according to Forbes. Its richest resident is...
Wait, what? No. I guess that's it. I have to vote for Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams and Curtis Sliwa illegally. Oh, no. Streamers contribute to inequality. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Former Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who notably endorsed Mamdani's opponent, Andrew Cuomo, in last week's Democratic election.
Maybe he means like Netflix. Guys, that's the fucking, like, that's photoshopped. Really? There are people who legitimately think he said that? You're trying to make sense of a very obviously photoshopped meme that came from Hoscord? That's crazy. Come on, guys. We're fucking cooked, man. We're cooked.
Or at least the primaries there. Of all this, I don't know. I was also just separately, a couple things, disturbed by the globalized, what do you say that just?
He was so disturbed he can't even say it. Okay, this guy's a real Jew hater. I forget what he said, but it was some Arabic. Okay, I don't fucking. What is he? The globalize the empanada or something? I don't fucking know. What was it? What is it? What did he say? Globalize the enchilada? Yeah. When I'm so mad, but I can't even remember what I'm fucking mad about. When I'm so scared that simply imagining the word in my mind terrifies me. That's what it is. That's what happened. He's so scared. He's so fucking terrified that it took him, a whole minute to figure out what the word was.
So just separately, a couple things. Disturbed by the globalized, what did you say that just made me crazy over the weekend? Did you see what he said? Globalized. He didn't say globalized infidel.
Yeah.
But he did say
intifada, man. Intifada. That is fucking awesome. I don't know what it is. I don't know. What is it that people just can't fucking say the word? I guess. I mean, even some of my friends also have a hard time saying it. And same with Mamdani as a last name. I don't, depending on the person's ideological leanings, I give people a lot of breathing space on this kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know how it's just so difficult. I mean, fucking Morning Joe said infantada. You can't say French names. You can't talk. I mean, dude, first of all, this is not even because it's a foreign language, okay? This means that he just hasn't heard it before. That's my point. Because if he had heard it enough times, he would at least be able to pronounce it, okay? For example, there are French terms that I normally probably would have a hard time saying, but because I've heard it a million times over, I can clearly say it correctly. Islamo-gauchism is one of those examples, okay? Wokism, Islamo-gauchism. You hear it enough times, and you fucking can say it. Hors d'oeuvres. How the fuck would you normally read that word? It would be very difficult for you to read that word. C'est la vie is another one, right? But because you've heard it so many fucking times, you know how to kind of say it. Intifada is the same thing. My point is, if he was hearing this all the fucking time and it was such a terrifying statement, I think he probably would be able to say it correctly.
That he wouldn't condemn it. He was asked 3 times by her.
Right.
Which is, some people say is anti-Semitic. Some people say is anti-Zionist. Unfortunately, they get conflated either way. Right. And so by default, I would think.
He's like, I don't like it anyway. I don't like it either way,
think you could.
He wouldn't shoot down the speculation that he's an anti-Semite.
Right.
That's
and I don't really understand why he didn't, unless he is.
What? What are you? You're literally admitting that there is this conflation happening. There is this conflation happening that is like cynical, and then also saying, and he should still condemn it. To what? To what end? Like, at this point, my man is, as Ugopnik in the chat said, doubling down on a word he admittedly doesn't know, okay? While simultaneously saying how angry it made him. Doesn't know the word, can't say the fucking word, literally openly says, well, you know, some people say it's anti-Semitic, some people say it's anti-Zionist, but he should just condemn it then. Why? Why should he fucking condemn it then? You don't even know what he should be condemning. You don't even know what you're fucking angry about. Why should anybody have to listen to you? What the fuck is this? Who made you the boss of everybody? I swear to God, bro, white people have this fucking sense of authority and this confidence whenever they talk about shit. And yes, Jewish people are white in this process, you know, holy fuck. Where it's just like, excuse me, you should be at the mercy of my fears, no matter how stupid, no matter how racist they are. It's like, no, fuck you. The fuck do you mean? What are you talking about? You don't even know what this word is, and you're fucking trying to whip yourself up into a fucking frenzy, dude. Are you kidding me? Zohran Mamdani hasn't said anything negative about Jewish people or cheered on their suffering, yet these four demand he condemn such rhetoric. They, however, all have expressed support for a government that's committing a genocide and killed Americans. Will they condemn it? Republicans and establishment Democrats demand that Zohran Mamdani condemn the things he's never said. Meanwhile, all those demanding Mamdani do so are never asked, even gently, to condemn the current ongoing genocide they are actively supporting. It is that simple. It is that fucking simple. Do you understand? That's it. It's because these fucking dipshits literally are trying to create an environment that doesn't exist anymore in public consciousness where, you know, you can't say anything about Israel. You will get attacked. You will get attacked. You will be mercilessly and ruthlessly fucking smeared. Yeah, this was we watched this before. This lady is just basically saying like Israel should get to do a genocide. Shut the fuck up. Might is right. And Big Joel had this take, which I liked. The most odd tendency for pro-Israel types these days is this kind of performative madness, just yelling at us in this desperate tone that morals don't matter. We don't do moral stuff anymore. Very sad, honestly. It's so weird. By the way, I thought calling Israel a colonial state is blood libel. In this video, she literally says they are, and it's good. Exactly. The explicit goal is to get us to imagine events that are unfolding as events that already occurred, as though the Palestinians have already been dealt with, and we can just feel a bit stinky about it. Such an odd perspective. Native Americans are full citizens of America now. I wonder what Israelis would think about that arrangement. And there's like ongoing issues with Native Americans that persist in this country as well. And it is after an ethnic cleansing campaign unfolded and was successful in terms of genociding the native population. I'm an Israeli outraged at Biden's betrayal of Israel. Oh, this is, I mean, come on. This is, at this point, showing this lady, I'm not gonna watch this again. It breaks my brain every time I see this. What do you mean? In this context, Jewish people are white. I'm Jewish, and I understand why some people don't consider us white. I do. There are also non-white Jews, though. There are Arab Jews, for example, like the Arab Jews that were coming from Israel. They got shot by a Floridian Jewish person, an Israel defender, because he thought that they were fucking Palestinian. There's Ethiopian Jews as well. My point is, Jewishness as a ethnic or ethno-religious category in the United States of America has long been folded under the white umbrella. Okay, like as far as having institutional power, as far as having proximity to power, it is a part of the in-group. That's why even the most racist politicians will say America was founded on Judeo-Christian values. Back in the day, they didn't used to say that. Okay? Can you imagine saying America was founded on Judeo-Christian values in like 1939? Ain't no fucking way. Nobody would say that. Okay? They'd be like, no, America was founded on Christian. I mean, I don't even know if they say America was founded on Christian values, really. Like in the 50s and 60s, even then, they wouldn't say America was founded on Judeo-Christian values. This is a post 9/11 war on terror new narrative. That's it.
You know, there's been, if you go back and look at his history and some of the things he said and some of the things his parents have said, you know, forget about, by the way, there's 123 billionaires in this city. There's close to 1 million people who are Jewish. This is the largest Jewish population.
Yeah, and they voted for him. So what does that do? What does that do to your narrative? What does that do to your narrative that Zohran Mamdani got the second highest number of Jewish votes in the city, in the most Jewish city on the planet, by the way? I think New York City has more Jewish people in it than Tel Aviv, or maybe Tel Aviv has more Jewish people now. So what happened? What happened? I mean, dude, Jews in New York have long-standing roots within the city. They have been there for much longer than Israel has fucking existed as a nation state. What are you saying? It is so fucking stupid. You're right. PSA, New York City is not the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. At 1.3 million, it is the largest Jewish population city by anywhere. Jerusalem has a Jewish population of just under 600K, 60% of total. And Tel Aviv, the city, not the region, has about 500K residents total. Well, they don't always vote in their best interest. In the first round, I think Cuomo got a higher number of Jewish votes in the primaries. But I think like when the Lander vote kicks in, which we'll find out tomorrow, like what the final tabulation looks like, he probably will have a higher number of Jewish votes. If you count the metro area, Tel Aviv is number 1, New York City is number 2. In city proper, New York City is number 1, Jerusalem is number 2, LA is number 3, and Tel Aviv is number 4. After the mass exodus of Jews, it won't be New York anymore, clearly. They'll all fly to Tel Aviv. Any day now, American Jews who have lived in New York, whose families have lived in New York, for fucking far longer than Israel has even existed. Any day now, those American Jews are going to be like, Am Israel Chai. This was the moment. This was the moment that I was waiting for. Now I'm going to go live over there. I didn't, even though there is an endless amount of incentives for me to go live there, okay? First of all, Israel has free healthcare, okay? Israel has free healthcare. They will subsidize your housing if you move, especially if you move to the West Bank. You can fucking live in a house for free. Better social safety nets overall. So why the fuck won't American Jews move to Israel? I don't know. Maybe because they're fucking American and not Israeli. I don't know. Seems crazy to me, but it feels like there's never been a moment in my life, and it's not because I'm like a particularly woke person, but there's never been a moment in my fucking life where I've met a Jewish American and assumed that this person is Israeli. Okay? I don't understand. Maybe it's because I lived in areas where there are a lot of Jewish people, whether it be New Jersey or whether it be Miami or whether it be Los Angeles. But there has never been a moment where I was like, well, this person is a foreigner. Okay? It's fucking so stupid. It's so stupid. And it pisses me off. This doesn't mean that like American Jews don't care about Israel. Clearly, plenty of American Jews do care about Israel, but they're still fucking American, okay? You can say, Hasan, you care about Turkey. I do, but I'm an American citizen. I'm also a Turkish citizen, but I care about America quite a bit. And America's dealings with the Turkish government do not actually factor into my fucking calculation, okay? Ayana Leong Nauer, a 35-year-old Brooklyn bartender who's Jewish and backed Mamdani, said the vote represented New Yorkers, many of them Jewish, saying we care more about having an affordable city than sowing division. And remember, I lived in Turkey for the first 18 years of my life. My whole family lives in Turkey, okay? I have more of a connection to the Turkish nation state by fucking living there than the average American Jew does to Israel, who at most maybe went one fucking time, okay? And even then, it doesn't matter if someone is like, if there was a candidate that was running around being like, I'm a socialist. I want to do free buses. I want to fucking improve I want to build public housing in the state of California. I want to build public housing. I want to combat homelessness in Los Angeles. Okay. And then also at the same time, they were like, oh, great example, even though I obviously also recognize this, the Armenian genocide. But they were like, I'm also going to make sure that there's a memorial for the Armenian genocide, like, which I already agree with, that it is a real thing that happened, right? But could you imagine if I was running around and being like, I can't vote for this person because they recognize the Armenian genocide? Like, how psychotic would that be? That is literally what some of these people are doing. And as a matter of fact, I say some, but not the majority, clearly. Okay? It's so fucking stupid. Yeah, I'm voting for Eric Adams. After all of this is said and done, I'm voting for Eric Adams because he truly is the number one candidate for the Turkish American voter. Everybody knows it's clear that Zohran is a Turkophobe, okay? And his Turkophobia is glaring. And I need a candidate who is going to defend the Turks. Yep, there it is. That's my guy. I hope this helps you understand how fucking stupid this conversation is. Okay? Yeah, can you imagine if I went up to every candidate and was like, do you condemn the PKK? Do you condemn the PKK? Do you condemn the PKK? Do you recognize the Armenian genocide? If you say yes, then you're Turkophobic. You're Turkophobic. You're Turkophobic. You're Turkophobic. You're Turkophobic. You will never win an election. You will never win an election in my city. You know? It's so fucking stupid. I would understandably get fucking laughed out of every goddamn room, okay? But seemingly, you don't even have to be Jewish or even in any way, shape, or form connected to Israel to make these fucking make these questions be known and make it a prominent fixture of your fucking counter message against this guy. How crazy. This lends itself to anti-Semitic tropes so fucking much. It's not even funny anymore. I mean, we've gone past that point. I think people are so deeply brain broken that they're not even considering that side of it. I've warned about this over and over again for the past fucking year and a half at this point. Clearly people don't give a shit. Like they literally are just like, nah, you don't understand. I don't fucking care. Okay.
Out of Israel. And so I don't know. I mean,
they so clearly don't care that they're running around with this narrative when clearly the New York Jews that were supposed to be the primary fearful targets here clearly didn't give a shit because it's bullshit. It's not real. It's not a real consideration. It's not a real fear. Do you understand? So now you got a bunch of people speaking in their stead. There was a good take in here somewhere where I think it was Ezra Klein who said enough is enough. Like, I didn't vote here. Here is Ezra Klein, who is a liberal Zionist himself, who is one of the most prominent Jewish writers in the United States of America, says he didn't rank Cuomo on his ballot because he was disgusted by how he tried to weaponize Israel and anti-Semitism.
Public life, like, that's a bar I want candidates to be above. But the other thing that, like, actually closed it, that made for me that I would not rank him, was the way he used Israel in the campaign. Like, I'm a Jewish person. I have very, very deep feelings about what is happening in Israel and Gaza. And I found it so cynical, so repulsive, just such a vicious way to weaponize, I thought, both sort of Mamdani's ethnicity, but also, I don't know, what's happening in Gaza is a horror. People should be horrified. Like, the whole thing just struck me as grotesque. And I knew a lot of people for whom it read that way. The thing in the debates where they got into a fight over, like, visiting Israel.
What's the first country you're going to visit? Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I've said in a UJA questionnaire that I believe that you need not travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers. And that is what I will be doing as the mayor. I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers and I'll be meeting them wherever.
Dude, that was such a fucking, that was a gift to Zohran Mamdani. And they thought that was, dude, like, when that question and that follow-up was presented to him, okay, I think the media still, and I think this is still an ongoing, ever-present problem within both the media and also within our politics in general, where they literally don't recognize what average people think about Israel. They don't recognize how fucking stupid of a question this is. How stupid it is to keep pressing a candidate over and over again. Oh, you won't go to Tel Aviv? Oh, I guess you're anti-Semitic then. Why won't you go to Tel Aviv? Do you hate Jews? Do you like Sabra hummus? How much Sabra hummus have you consumed in the last year? Like they thought this was going to fuck him, okay? Like that question and the follow-ups imply that the people asking those questions literally thought that this would be a major line of attack. And it did the exact opposite. If you cannot understand how out of step, how out of touch mainstream media, local news, and the Democratic and Republican Party as a whole is from broad public sentiment on this issue, this should be the wake-up call. But lucky for us, I guess, it's not. And I say lucky for us. Did it work? Because the more they try to jam them up with this shit, the less time they have focusing on things that actually could change people's opinions. The sharp fall in Democratic voter support for Israel is measured by Gallup is striking, down to just 21%. 21% of the Democrats have a sympathy that lies more with Israel, as opposed to 60% of Democrats that say their sympathies lie with the Palestinians. 21% is still crazy, though. Come on, dude. Are you kidding me? If you're over the... Dog, what are you talking about? If you're over the age of 50, this is a question that is like fucked up to even ask someone. If you're over the age of... Like, a lot of you guys woke up to the realities, especially as like younger people, without like the tremendous amount of social conditioning that like Israel is the most valuable country on the fucking planet. I have shown you in 2014 when Jessica Ramos literally on her Facebook page wrote Palestine heart, okay? She wrote Palestine and then put a fucking heart emoji next to it. That was scandalous, okay? In 2014, that was considered fucking scandalous. Now you got motherfuckers saying death to the IDF at Glastonbury with hundreds of thousands of people in the crowd chanting death to the IDF. This is not the same universe that we live in. No matter how hard the media keeps trying to operate in the previous way of existence, where you couldn't even say like, I mean, not even globalized intifada, you couldn't even recognize Palestinians as a fucking human being. It's over, by the way. It's over. No matter how much, yeah, he's getting clapped, by the way. I know. No matter how much they try to actively go after people who do stuff like this, okay? I mean, they try to do this with kneecap too. For us millennials growing up, if you were not pro-Israel, you were an anti-Semitic terrorist automatically, no questions asked. Yeah, it's done.
Where they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not as a Jewish state?
As a state with equal rights.
He won't say it has a right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very clear.
And his answer was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said that.
Yeah, this was fantastic for him. This got him so much favor because right now, Israel is the number one way, especially given the insane amounts of fucking vitriol that comes your way if you say the truth about it. Israel is seen as like the number one way to communicate that you're an earnest politician, okay? Like, even if you were a scumbag otherwise, you can win tremendous favor and showcase that you are like an honest broker, as Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing, by positioning yourself against Israel. Straight up. That's it. Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, these are people who are using the media landscape and its inability to communicate clearly the horrible situation that Israel is in. Yeah, like it or not, a reason that Palestine has become a litmus test is that it turns out to be a pretty reliable signal that you won't back down on the other stuff either. And again, Matt Duss, very progressive figure. He's at Center for International Policy. But like, Matt Duss and I are not immediately aligned on the issue of Israel. Okay. at different moments, I have criticized Matt Duss's statements about Israel, but he's right. He gets it. He sees it. I mean, and he is far more progressive on this issue than the overwhelming majority of like politicians and the overwhelming majority of like think tank people and the media people. And yet he is still I would say a liberal Zionist for sure, but very clearly, this otherwise untouchable, clear-cut case of chaos, instability, and inequality is no longer seen as that way by the average, by like regular people. It's done. It's over. And it will never change. It will never change. Felix Biederman has a take. Yeah. There's an inevitable outcome when people see videos of parents carrying what was once their child inside several plastic bags and are told to support this or you're anti-Semitic. If you cannot or will not make the obvious connection, I don't need to hear you opine on it. 1,000%. If one's morality is compromised so heavily so they can't recoil and discuss it, a live stream genocide, and those who commit it, they are a husk of a person with poisonous thoughts at best. Also, tell me what conclusion one might draw from our current two-tier punishment system. A-list celebrities can say any number of things and get the ADL donation and Auschwitz tour package. Private citizens who wear the wrong necklace get fired and publicly denounced. Yeah. You can literally Sig Heil on national television on the day of the fucking inauguration twice. Not once, twice. But as long as you're pro-Israel, ain't nobody is allowed to say a fucking peep. You think average people don't see that? That was another moment for a lot of people that actually, I think, contributed to their distaste for Elon Musk. That was a major moment. I think normies saw that and were like, I am fucking grossed out. I'm not on board with this at all. Because remember, normies fucking hate Nazis. Even normies who have Nazi-style politics literally still are taught at an early age to fucking despise Nazis. Okay? Partially because we fought them in World War II. It was the most honorable battle that we fought in our history since and certainly before and after. Okay? So when they see when they see the wealthiest person on the planet throw the double Sig Heil, and then they see institutions run to his defense because he's pro-Israel, I assume some people connect the dots, that this is not about fucking anti-Semitism at all. You say that about everyone is the common attitude, okay? Anyone and everyone that says, fuck Israel, fuck the genocide that Israel is committing, I want to wash my hands clean of this nonsense. Anyone who fucking says that is immediately tarred and feathered as an anti-Semite. You have diluted the impact of a real bigotry. We live in a country where you can live stream with Sneeko, who is a fucking Holocaust denier, and then go on the anti-Semitism ticket. Like, can you imagine Zohran doing that? Can you fucking imagine what kind of coverage would exist? You don't have to imagine that hard because they've literally used his association with me, a person who has dedicated a good deal of time combating anti-Semitism, but because of my anti-Zionist perspective, they've tried to hit him with that. Andrew fucking Cuomo mentioned me.
That's what he was trying to say.
No.
Game.
Yeah.
It was such an obvious political game.
Yeah.
All right.
Debating every day on TV about their approach to. If Democrats were openly debating every day on TV about their approach to affordability issues, that would be a good debate to see, for Americans to see. But instead, we're engaged in kind of culture war, kind of snipes.
This feels like watching The View by dude. Wait, what? Watching The View? What the fuck?
The comments that Gillibrand made a few days ago were pretty sickening.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
I mean, every time he appears on the media, he gets asked a very specific question that is not necessarily about the economic policies, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing I will say,
Brad Landers,
in most of in Gillibrand's comments and Dan Goldman's comments, the criticism they had was about anti-Semitism, not Israel. That's what they said in their statements. And the thing that has not been talked about at all is the literal party that Eric Adams is running on in November as an independent candidate is the End Anti-Semitism Party. And so, to me, what is more of a cynical deployment of or use, a weaponization of Jewish pain than for the candidate who couldn't make it, who was too chicken to run in the Democratic primary, to now make his whole candidacy and make his whole party called the End Anti-Semitism Party? Like, that should be condemned by all Democrats. Like, and he's probably going to be the other candidate Zohran Mamdani is facing. We are not having a conversation about that at all.
Can you, to play devil's advocate, how do we know that the reason why the establishment types are avoiding endorsing or holding off on endorsing him, we don't know if they will eventually, is about the Islamophobia, and they don't want to be seen as endorsing
global jihad, Kristen Gillibrand?
Well, you think Hakeem Jeffries is like worried about global jihad or whatever?
I think he does care about the perception that also paralyzed Kristen Gillibrand to be able to come out and say something thoughtful instead of falling into an Islamophobic trope. So I do think that they are paralyzed by that and they're unable to break through. But I mean,
here's one of those Democrats, Richie Torres.
He says it's not language he uses, but he did not specifically condemn it. What did you think of that answer?
I strongly disagree. No one's advocating for imprisonment. I mean, every elected official has an obligation to condemn hatred, whether it's anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. The Second Intifada refers to a wave of terror attacks, suicide bombings, and slashings and stabbings that left more than 1,000 Israelis and Jews dead. And so when one uses the word intifada, it causes profound pain and trauma to the Jewish community. It is deeply offensive.
It's a scary world. Yeah, why does he look like an astronaut? That's what I was thinking too. I didn't want to say anything. Doesn't he look like... He looks like he's signing off from the International Space Station. Oh, you don't understand. These words, they're scary. I can't do it. Yeah, by the way, any reason why Torres gets any space on this is because he is an attack dog for Israel, okay? Straight up. He is one of the most vicious and also one of the most toothless, ironically, because of how clearly compromised he is. Like, nobody in Congress takes him seriously. I will always point to him using the congressional letterhead to fucking attack me with talking points that he got from a sex pest Zionist community that has famously defended white people saying the N-word. That community, this fucking dipshit got notes from to fucking write with a congressional letterhead a demand to fucking deplatform me ahead of the general election, a general election that his party was on, okay? He spent more time talking about me in the lead up to the fucking general election, listening to a dude who wrote a manifesto about saying the N-word as a white guy. That is how depraved you must be. Like, this is unimaginable depravity. He cares more about Israel than he does about the poorest congressional district in the country, which he is the representative of.
Every elected official, without exception, should condemn it.
In the primary, you were supportive of former Governor Andrew Cuomo. He is going to stay, he says for now, on the ballot in November. Do you still support his candidacy for mayor?
I think the defending genocide part's the most depraved thing, but that's me. No, that's a given, okay? Most congresspersons in America do that. But how much they'll go and fucking wrestle in the mud at the behest of Israel is what makes Richie Torres unique. Do you understand? That's what makes him unique.
My endorsement of the governor only applies to the Democratic primary, which is over. So the voters...
I don't know early how you were, but it raises concern that Sex Pestany was your friend. Do these people you associate with speak about you too? What are you... Like, reorient that question in a way that makes sense, please. I'm genuinely confused about what this question is. It's been a long fucking time since this person has not been someone I've associated with many, many years ago. Unironically, it was his N-word manifesto that made me cut the fucking relationship clean off because I thought it was unconscionable It was before I learned about all of the new revelations anyway. In a weird way, a massive compliment to you, though, having Zionism premium attack dogs jumping at you means you're doing God's work. I mean, well, that, but also the fact that it didn't work implies how little motion he has. Do you see what I'm saying? How is intifada attack word? As a Muslim, would you not be scared? Who has the power? What? What are you even fucking saying?
Members of the Democratic primary have spoken, and so my focus is on governing.
I just missed what you said there at the end. Do you support the nominee Zohran Mamdani in his race for mayor now?
I have not endorsed the assemblyman. We spoke on Sunday. We had a mutually respectful conversation.
I've heard socialists in air quotes say you're a bad person because you betrayed D-Man and that friend group. Socialists? I don't think those people are fucking socialists.
We have profound differences of opinion. There was no discussion of an endorsement, but there wasn't a discussion of a commitment to continuing the dialogue.
So you're not ruling it out?
I think we have profound differences of opinion. But again, if he becomes mayor, and he's likely to become mayor, the mayor needs the New York City congressional delegation. The New York City congressional delegation needs the mayor. And so it's in the interest of both sides to have a working relationship to figure out how to coexist.
Dude, well, you don't have to worry about that too long because your seat is up for grabs soon. Yeah. Also, Zohran absolutely crushed his district too. Nexus, a liberal Jewish academic task force on anti-Semitism. The dude who Josh Hawley yelled at was from Nexus, by the way. Jonathan Jacoby, national director of the Nexus Project. Wait, actually, it might have literally been Jonathan Jacoby who I was talking about. Remember I said like he was wearing an IDF dog tag at the congressional hearing and Josh Hawley yelled at him and was like, what do you know about combating anti-Semitism? Doors open. Bana yemek geldi. Evet. He has said, whether or not one agrees with Mamdani's views on Israel or any other issue, there is no justification for sensationalizing and polarizing the political debate to stoke fear and delegitimize his candidacy. Like, this is why Zohran's maneuvering around this issue is also pretty good because, like, he even gets support from liberal Zionists, like, with regular frequency. Like, it's not, they don't consider this, well, what the fuck? What happened in my chat? Chat stopped for a second. I got scared. Like, he gets support from even liberal Zionists as well. Like, he does a decent job of communicating his desires in a way that, like, even if someone were to care about it, even if someone were to care about Israel, like, they still, like, he is able to instill confidence in people that instill confidence in people who care about Israel that he is not anti-Semitic. I think he does a better job with that than someone like myself, who obviously isn't trying to win favors and win votes anyway.
That threw me.
I was surprised to see that, too, because he said some things in the past. You would think
that's certainly the role. That's the reason why he communicates about Israel in the way that he does, for the record, that he wants a democratic state there with equal rights and representation for all.
I think when you're at this point that you would at least pivot and say, I'm absolutely not an anti-Semite. Right. I want to make sure that Jewish people feel safe. He didn't take the opportunity to do that, which is shocking. The other thing I will say, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought he tried a little bit in his own way, but he could have easily said, and then tried to, because I thought he was trying to turn it into this thing. Well, I don't want to be like President Trump. He said, because I don't want to police speech. But, there's a difference between policing speech, meaning like actually like taking, putting people in jail over speech, and being able to say, you know what, not only would I not say this, I condemn it. It's not something that I think should be said aloud. Right. And he didn't take that opportunity. He was offered the opportunity multiple times. And I think there are people who look at that and go, what is going on here?
Well, the other thing is President Trump kind of focused on this, too, this weekend. He said that he's a communist, and he said that if he actually wins election next year, that Trump might seek to shut down federal funding for New York City, almost like he's done with Harvard and other places, and what that might mean for the city as a result. Bradley Tusk, again, referencing back to him, he was here on Friday. He said it's the best thing that could possibly happen for President Trump would be to have Mamdani win, because then he becomes this foil, kind of this punching bag. Best thing that could happen for President Trump, and for Mamdani, he can just go back and forth at Trump. You have, again, just this.
I mean, it's so interesting to see how he's clearly tapped into an issue in New York, which is affordability. Yeah. And the affordability issue is real. It's not that it isn't real. The question is, what's the solution to the affordability problem? I would argue it's not necessarily, re-rent stabilizing things. It's actually creating some supply of housing in this city, changing so many of the crazy restrictions in this city so that you can't build. I mean, that if we actually could build in this city. Now, Would you be able to solve the problem in 3 or 4 years? No. But over a decade, if you actually really built and went after it, you could do a lot. And I just don't understand why, Esther Klein has this book, Abundance, and it's really about building and trying to almost take advantage of capitalism to some degree, not necessarily restricting prices, but it's actually abundance, meaning you have to create supply. You have to take some of the restrictions off. You have to let people build the subways without, every last union trying to hold back and create these astronomical costs. And I don't think that's going to happen under this gentleman.
Mamdani.
That's not what he's looking for. Yeah. So we'll see.
Zohran Mamdani's expected victory in New York City's mayoral primary has made the 33-year-old an instant star in Democratic politics. Here he is on the cover of New York Magazine, which says his historic primary upset has the city swooning, spinning, and reeling. And despite the excitement, though, some top Democrats are stopping short of endorsing him outright, including the top Democrats in the House and Senate, who also happen to be fellow New Yorkers. Zohran Mamdani is back with us. It's great to have you back on the show. We had you on 2 weeks after you announced your run. I would say back then, not a household name. Safe to say now, you're a national figure. So we greatly appreciate.
Are you giving yourself some credit there?
No, I'm saying we greatly appreciate you making time for us now that you've hit the big leagues. Let's talk about this kind of divide within the Democratic Party, right? And the slow endorsement. You've certainly been endorsed by AOC, Bernie Sanders. You've been welcomed by them. They're celebrating your victory. But the party leadership has not yet coalesced around you, if you will. I'm wondering how you plan on tackling that, just from a political standpoint, because at the end of the day, some will say you need the party. Certainly the party has to get behind you because you are now potentially the mayor of the biggest city, probably the most important city in America. And so they're going to have to, they can't ignore you, and they're going to have to find a way to work with you. So what's your strategy for closing that divide?
I've been honored in the days since the primary to have received the endorsements of Congressman Nadler, of Senator Warren, of 32BJ SEIU, the Hotel Trades and Gaming Council, as well as NYSNA, the nurses union, and ultimately showing that this coalition continues to build each and every day. And the way that we move forward is the way that we got here. We earn every single endorsement. And I've appreciated the phone calls that I've had with Senator Schumer and Congressman Jeffries, articulating both the focus of our campaign on affordability and the necessity of that to be a central message in our party. And I'm excited to keep growing this coalition.
So you mentioned that the unions have come behind you. They had previously endorsed one of your opponents, Cuomo. And if you look at the results of the primary, you did very well with higher income voters and less well with the working class, with lower income voters, which doesn't sound like it should jibe with your agenda or your message in any event. To what do you attribute that to? That it has taken a while for the unions to come on board? And I guess I don't know what the latest polling is on lower income voters, but at least we know what the results were in the primary.
Well, we actually saw that we won the votes of voters who made $65,000 and above. And I would say that in New York City, that is very much a working class person's salary. And we have many more New Yorkers to win. And ultimately, we began this race, as you were saying in the beginning, at about 1% name recognition. And that's being charitable to myself. And we began it with a real uphill battle in introducing ourselves and our vision, and ultimately we won the primary. And yet I know that there's still so much more work to be done, especially when I was running against a former governor who was the son of a former governor and whose name in many ways was synonymous with politics. And yet what we show is that it's possible to move beyond just a politics of the past and the present. We can have a politics of the future. And I've been excited by the fact that on Tuesday night, we didn't just see an incredible increase in Asian turnout across New York City. We didn't just see the more than doubling of turnout amongst 18 to 24-year-olds and increases for 25 to 29 and 30 to 34. We also saw the fact that we won Latino voters across New York City. And we closed a gap with black voters that at one point had been more than 50 points to now less than 20 points. And so much of the work of going through the general election is to continue doing that work of introduction and earning the support of New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs.
I have to ask you, too, about what it's been like for you to process some of the Islamophobic responses that we've seen. I think some would say they're not as surprised by some like, Representative Ogles saying you should be deported. But others have been a bit surprised by, for example, a New York senator going on a popular radio show and suggesting that you support global jihad. What has that been like for you? And have you had the chance to speak with Senator Gillibrand?
I spoke to Senator Gillibrand soon after the victory on Tuesday evening, and the comments that I've heard, especially from Republicans across the country, and even the comments prior during the primary, were comments that were both unsurprising and yet still quite sad, because they showcase what politics has become for so many. It's a language of darkness and a language of exclusion. And what has kept me hopeful through this is that our vision is one where every New Yorker belongs. And there are so many New Yorkers who previously hadn't voted in primaries, who saw themselves now in this politics, saw their struggles in our policies, and took that step to actually cast a ballot. And what
He's a better man than me, I'll tell you what. I would not be speaking like that. I can say it because, it's so funny because, representation doesn't fucking matter to me even a little bit. Not even a little bit. But I'm thinking about it right now. This is the most, one-to-one I've ever felt represented in American politics. I don't give a fuck about it. Okay? Dude is my age, Muslim, socialist. This is the closest I've ever felt represented. I don't give a shit. Okay? If he had the same politics and the same momentum, same dynamism, same turnout strategy, and he was, white and Christian or Jewish or whatever, I still wouldn't care. You know what I mean? I care about the policies. But for me, I will say this much. As someone who is also victim to the exact same lines of attack with regular fucking frequency, he's handling it a lot better than I think I would in that situation. The Gillibrand shit made me go crazy. That one was so unacceptable, dude. God damn.
What excites me is that there are moments where someone will cast a ballot for someone with an exclusionary vision like Donald Trump, and they can still come back to the Democratic Party. And so many of our victories were in neighborhoods that went for Donald Trump in the presidential election. We're talking about College Point or Diker Heights, so many of the same places we were told that we had now lost voters forever. And instead, what we've found is that if you have a relentless focus on an economic agenda and you welcome people back and you turn the political instinct from lecturing to listening, you can still have people come home to the Democratic Party as long as you show them that's a party that will fight for working people, not those that are benefiting off the struggles of working people.
We are going to dig into some of your policies in the second part of this conversation after the break and some of the specifics of these economic policies. But I just want to kind of talk about the reaction and what this means right now for the Democratic Party, again, in a big picture way, which is you have always, this campaign was very successful in making you accessible to the media and to voters. Do you think you will still be able to do that going forward now that there is this intense spotlight, there is more pressure on you, you will be pulled in more directions, that the element of success that many say drove your campaign is going to be hard to maintain?
Actually, a really good question. A really, really good question. Because, what caused him to win this major upset was because he was able to earnestly communicate his desires without caring too much about the noise. I do also worry that there's more pressure on him. And now as a consequence of all the pressure, he's going to try to be more defensive, try to maneuver around some of these issues and be more fearful and take out some of what made him look earnest
over the next several months in a general election.
It's definitely more difficult, especially in light of the kinds of threats that I'm receiving. But ultimately, I continue to believe that New Yorkers deserve a mayor that they can see, a mayor that they can speak to, a mayor they can ask questions of, even a mayor that they can yell at. And that is the mayor that I will be. And that's why people will see me across this city, because we need a city that is led by someone who understands it and who looks to represent each
So no
person.
intent to change what you did throughout the primary going forward?
No,
Still make yourself accessible.
You're going to see me walking a lot.
Still going to talk to reporters all the time?
Come on, look where I am.
Right now, this
Every
show.
Tuesday.
Oh, these are tough questions. I actually have a slightly harder question for you than whether you're going to come hang out with us again, because I know we are so adorable and fun to spend time with, which is that, progressives have historically had a very complicated relationship with law enforcement and police. You yourself have been very critical
That's low-key also not a bad question.
Of law enforcement. In a social media post from 2020, which has been resurfaced, you refer to the NYPD as, quote, racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. The current NYPD commissioner, Jessica Tisch, has also criticized the decision to ban NYPD LGBTQ plus members from the Pride Parade today. I think we have that up on the screen. What do you think is the right way for Democrats and progressives to talk about law enforcement, or the right relationship that they should have with law enforcement today?
You know, I've shown over the course of this campaign a clear recognition of the fact that police are critical to creating public safety across this city. And my proposal for the Department of Community Safety is one that was born out of my conversations with rank and file officers who have told me time and again their frustration with signing up to join the police force to tackle serious crimes and then being asked to play the roles of mental health professionals and social workers and fielding 200,000 mental health calls a year. And ultimately, my desire is for the police to be able to focus on those serious crimes, to be able to do their jobs by stopping asking them to respond to nearly every failure of the social safety net. And that's why we have put forward this proposal to create a department that will tackle mental health crises, homelessness, victim services, hate crimes, gun violence, so that police can go back to those 7 major categories of crime we see in CompStat. Because ultimately, New Yorkers deserve to be safe. They deserve a police force that is able to focus on keeping them safe. And what we've seen is that in 2025, in the first quarter, 65% of crimes that were reported are yet to be solved. We need to make it easier for police to focus on solving those crimes. And I've been very clear, we're not defunding the police. We're sustaining the headcount of the police department and allowing them to do their actual jobs.